I am so excited for yet another epic Rebel Radio conversation with my brand new friend, John. John, welcome to the show. I'm so glad that you're here today.
Thank you so much. We had a good little chat beforehand, and I hope we can have an amazing conversation. I think it will go very, very smoothly.
Absolutely. It always does. And even when it doesn't, it does.
Right.
So, before we went live, as always, I shared a little mini numerology reading with you. And I'm super curious what landed for you with that, or what stood out to you the most about your numbers?
Definitely most of the part where you went over where I need to get energy out. With everything that's going on in my head, I'm always thinking through every single possible thing going on in my life, how I can solve it, especially with people. You mentioned as well, like wanting people to do better and be better with themselves. Yeah. That is huge. So what I usually turn to is either writing, working out, cooking as well. Strangely, I don't know if that's coming.
I love to cook too.
I'm like
the poor thing.
It could be. I'm like I'll be thinking about something and I'll be frustrated or whatever the case may be. I'm like, if I just cook some food right now, I'll chill out, I'll veg out, I'll be good to go. So that's something that I do quite often.
I love that. It makes sense that it would be a 4 thing because 4s like to create in the material world and creating.
Yeah, and I also do that business-wise too. Like if I'm not sure what I want to do, I'll start creating like sales pages and stuff. And it's very accurate. It's pretty good, spot on, especially for me.
One of our favorite sayings as numerologists, you can't make this shit up and the numbers never lie.
Yeah, it's a good saying. I like it.
I love it. So tell us a little bit, who is John? What do you do in the world and who are you?
I'm number one. I like to say this because I thought about this question. There's another podcast I was on that goes, that's our first question. It's like, you can either go really deep with it or there's a bunch of different avenues you can go. So I decided to kind of go, one, I'm someone who really cares about people. Like we talked about, I want the best for people. I love making people smile. I love making people laugh. That's just, it's infectious for me. It's what makes me happy, genuinely.
Yeah.
And two, I'm also a second generation digital marketer. I love business. It's all I've done my entire life. I worked at 6 months for Walmart when I was 16. Shout out Walmart. Thanks for the 6 months. And as I said, love food, love people, love having a good time, and just love to enjoy life and give as much as I possibly can.
Oh, I love that so much. And, I get lots of people that are applying to be on Rebel Radio and I see, digital marketer and I go, okay, but where's the spiritual side? And right away you were like, oh, I'm all over that.
Right. Yeah, no, it's because I think there's so much spiritually and emotionally and kinesthetically that connects with business, that connects with relationships, that connects with all these different things, that connects with self-development too in a few of these different areas. And that's where I think, also why I think I do well at what I do is I truly, genuinely try to connect with people because I'm always being myself.
Yeah.
Can I give a little quick story?
Please do.
I think it worked really well. It was my first big sale when I believe I was 16 years old, getting my start in affiliate marketing. I didn't know how to do sales, right? I had no clue. I don't know how to talk on the phone. I can barely talk in front of, my classmates, although sometimes I enjoyed it to make them laugh and stuff. And in this affiliate marketing program I was in, which got me this award, which is sick, I was partnered up with my dad, right? So we had this person coming in who's going to pay $2,000. But first they want to talk on the phone for it because they weren't sure if they wanted to move forward with us. My dad's like, I could do this easily. Take care, son. So I'm like, okay. I am nervous. I don't know what to say. No idea what to say, how to say it, why to say it, which I'm good at now. But before I had no clue. So I just got on the call. Hey, the guy's name is Neil. I forgot his last name. Sorry, Neil. And started chatting. And about halfway through the call, he just goes, you know what? I'm buying. And I was like, huh? What do you mean? He goes, well, just from talking with you, I just feel that you're actually listening to me, you're actually showing interest to me, and it just feels right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, huh. And at the time, I didn't really realize what I was doing until later, as I got more experience and I thought back on it. He ended up spending $2,000 with us, which especially 16, a $2,000 deal in one call was fantastic.
Yeah.
I realized kind of my superpower, I would call it, other than being really good with business, is I'm really good at connecting with people. And I think it's because I'm so genuine, real, being myself. And it just resonates with people. They feel that too. And it makes them want to work with me in some way, shape, or form. So that was a really good experience that I later on realized I'm kind of good at this kind of stuff a little bit.
Yeah. I love that so much. There's a couple things that stood out to me about that story is, I mean, number one, our business and us, we're not separate.
Mm-hmm.
And so many entrepreneurs, I see this happen time and time again with coaches is over here, I'm this family person and I've got kids and I'm doing
Right.
this. But over here, I've got this total mask on and I'm acting like someone that I'm not. And people can smell that from a mile away. It's, ugh, I don't like it.
Instantly, especially if you're selling to other business owners who like are in business, and they instantly, I can tell either by tone of voice or just how someone starts a conversation, like, you're selling me, just don't, or even sell me, but just be yourself, just be real. I had a brief stint too. I don't know if you're familiar with Frank Kern. He's not as well known as he used to be back in the day. He was.
Oh, I know Frank Kern.
But Frank Kern, he's still big. I had a brief stint around 2 years ago. I wanted to see what it was like to have another job. I'm like, I have right now. I manage 4 businesses at once. A lot of work, but I like it. But I'm like, I never worked a job other than at Walmart. Let me see if I kind of do kind of like a freelance kind of working with a good company I know that I trust. I worked with Frank Kern, and I was his head sales consultant for about 6 months, and it went absolutely fantastic. It went amazing. And again, I think it's just because I was just being real, being myself, and I sold better than everyone else because I was, again, being real, being myself, just being genuine. It does so good, especially with sales. Like,
and it's so much easier.
Yeah, it's so much easier, so much higher converting because you're no longer pushing. You're more of attracting and bringing people to you versus me trying to tell you what to do versus me guiding you. And not even me guiding you, more of you guiding yourself. I'm just kind of tapping your shoulder along the way with little assistance.
Exactly. I love that. I think it's so important, you know, in sales, as coaches, healers, our spiritual teachers in this audience, so many are afraid of sales. And I've always said in my sales training, you know, they're not buying your product. They're not buying your service. It's not, oh, I need that Reiki class. I can take Reiki classes from 1,000 people.
1,000 different, right?
They're buying you, not your product.
You almost stole my saying. Didn't steal it, but I have a saying that I think it's original, or at least somewhat close to original, but you said it, so it might not be, is people don't buy product and services, people buy people. Yeah. And, you know, something that I've had kind of arguments just going back and forth with people on this, like, well, you know, people buy toilet paper because they need it. And people do buy some things because they need it. But think about, like, why people, you just told me off that you didn't have an Apple phone. I have an Apple phone. But why do people like Tesla, like Apple, like all these big brands? And why are they the largest companies in the world? It's because people build connection with them, long-term customers. Yeah, there's 20 other phone makers in the market, or 5 or 10 of them. But for example, Tesla has like a cult following because Elon built with his personality, just trying to be a genuine person, which there's much controversy on that. But from overall, he seems like a kind of genuine, real person. He built that in his business and just in his personal life. So people resonate with that and they want to work with something that is genuine, real. They buy the person, they buy the personality. People invest in things that relate with them and seem legit. And good companies know how to do that really, really well.
Yeah, it's all about that connection. Everything's about that connection.
Yep.
Which brings me to the big question. What does unity consciousness mean to you?
Unity consciousness to me means, one, obviously, everything is kind of connected in some way or another. Like every aspect of life, I notice more and more and more through networking, through business, through my relationship with my girlfriend, through friends, family, whether it's things that you talk about that end up being talked about on the radio, on this, on that, all around you start noticing it more and more and more. Or for some people, it's people who are more problematic, usually in life, they start producing more and more issues in every area of their life. It just kind of spreads.
Mhm.
We're fortunate enough, I focus on and try to create for other people and myself positive, good experiences. And it seems like those things keep happening over and over and over again. So to me, it's one, obviously, everything is connected in some way or form, whether it's through energy, whether it's just through the universe, through something. It's all connected. And in some way or form, because they're connected, each aspect of what you're working on or not working on in your life, because you might not be working on anything, affects the other in some way. So like you're saying, people think that their personal life and business is separate, but often businesses operate for people how their personal life operates.
Yeah.
You know, and it goes for relationships, it goes for everything. Everything affects one another. And it's also, I think, has to do also with like, yeah, there's things being connected in how you operate in the world. If I'm always focused on positive things, I'm taking action consistently in my health, for example, I'm working out, I'm doing everything to improve that, I'm probably doing that in a few other areas as well. And it, again, because it's all connected, it all connects back. It's like a vicious good cycle.
Right?
If you're doing good things.
Right? I love that. And one of the things that stood out to me is that I remember I was at a T. Harv Eker event way back in the day.
I
Like
do
I'm
know the
talking
name.
15 years ago. And one of his instructors said, how you do anything is how you do everything.
Yes.
And to me, that just stood out to me because, you know, you can go out, I don't know, go out and do something that's totally bad for your health. And then you come into your business and you bring that with you because then say you go out and party all night at the bar and you're hammered drunk and then you come back and then the next day you're sitting at your desk and you're like, oh my God, I feel like shit. And then you're judging yourself for making the decisions you made.
Yeah.
And that judgment flows, that energy just flows into your work and it's just a shit show.
Now you're doing a shitty job. Now, because you're doing a shitty job, your shitty boss you don't like comes in and yells at you. Now you're even more pissed off, and then you go home to your wife or your husband, and then they're pissed off at you because you're pissed off at work. It compounds, and I do get it is difficult, especially when people don't really focus in on their inner being of who they are, what they want to put in the world. It is hard for them to like control that, or at least guide it better. I've gotten much better recently. Because as we talked about earlier too, I want the best for people. I want people to exceed, kind of almost do what I'm doing, just doing everything they can to be the best in the world. When they don't, I get frustrated. And I think I've gotten better at breathing, relaxing, thinking about how else can I approach this, how else can I work with this person. Some people don't want the help. That's fine. Maybe later they'll come along my path. I'll come along theirs, and I can guide them. But I think I've gotten better, and I hope I keep getting better at relaxing, gathering myself, thinking of more creative ways to address situations and work with people and work things out.
I love that. Sounds like you're ready for mastering the brain game. Just saying.
Mastering the brain game is huge. Everything in here is everything that goes out.
Yeah. Mastering the brain game is actually a course that I have probably over 30 coaches teaching right now in this moment. So I love that we brought that up.
That's cool. By the way, everyone who's
shameless plug there.
Everyone who's listening, buy that shit.
Right?
Buy that shit. Invest. Get in it because, again, I've only talked with Cindy for how long, but it's been an absolutely wonderful experience. Most podcasts are, but this is, again, you kind of connect and feel things that are really good, and this has been absolutely amazing. So I appreciate you.
I love it. Well, you're doing great. Thank you. You're sharing excellent value.
Thank you.
So I want to know, with this concept of unity consciousness and I want to know what some of the habits or rituals that you have in place for, connecting with yourself and making sure that you're staying connected in that unity consciousness.
One thing I do, and again, I think I'm more spiritual than, I'm not really religious. I don't like a lot of what religion has came to be, like the mega churches and all that stuff.
Yep.
So I would think I'm definitely more spiritual. So every night I pray right as I'm going to bed every night. And it's not like saying that like, oh, I got to do this. I'm lying there. Maybe I forget, every other night or every fifth night or something. I don't even really pray. I say what I'm thankful for. I say God, or just universe, I am thankful for this. I appreciate, and I go through a whole entire list of everything. I go, I'm thankful. I think it's a great thing for people to do. And you can do this during the day too, is to sit back and think, especially if things are going bad for you. It's hard to be negative and be in a bad mood when you're being thankful.
Yeah.
So I just, that night, I go to bed and I go, I'm thankful for my health. Thank God I'm healthy. I'm super thankful for my friends. I love my family. I'm doing great financially. That's amazing. I appreciate, my friends and family are healthy. I love that I'm able to do things. I love that I have my own businesses. And I go through as much as I can think of right before I kind of fall asleep. And I might even think about those things as I fall asleep. And I think, again, that puts into the universe, that puts into the world those type of things that attracts them to you. And just makes you feel good, because the best way to wind down or even get riled up is about things that are positive, about things that are going to impact you for the better. So that's one thing I especially do almost every single night. I try not to forget, just because I think it's so important to be thankful, because while the majority of people listening to this or any podcast, or if you live in a first world country, you are doing incredible. Even if you're homeless in a first world country, you are so much better off than the average person, like a third world country, just in many different places across the world. There's always something you can be thankful for. Like, maybe my financial life is really rough right now, but I'm not dying of cancer, and that's the perspective I use on many things. I even use that when I'm talking with people, is they're talking about X, Y, Z's going on. And, maybe I'm working with them. We're just talking with them, their friends and family. I'm like, well, things could be a lot worse. We have a lot of great things to be thankful for. So that is one thing I do. Two, I try to take care of my health. I try to eat as healthy as I can, because people don't realize, well, how food and what is in food affects your emotions, which affects how you think, which affects, again, the vicious cycle of everything being connected. What you put into your body affects you in many different ways, spiritually, emotionally, yada yada. And I think those are probably the two most important things I do, is be thankful, and then also kind of belong with being thankful. I think why it seems like me and other people I know, friends and family and stuff, why certain people seem to enjoy life so much is because you appreciate, you're thankful for it. Because I had a conversation. I was not trying to keep talking, but I keep thinking of things that are connected. I was recently I was at my great grandma's. Great grandma's like 92 or something. She's getting old. I'm trying to visit her more and more, because you never know if she's going to slip and fall and something bad happened to her. And my uncle and aunt and some family were there with him. And my uncle was, you're so happy all the time. And I've always gotten that. He's like, why do you think that is? And I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, well, I think it's because I've learned to love life so much, even while things are bad.
Yeah.
I'm still like, as I said already, like, things could be worse. And also, just, I'm breathing. I eat food. I'm not dying of something. Life is just so amazing when you really think about what you have and what you can do with it. Again, just thinking in terms of moving forward, success, being positive, doing good things. And also, because I think like that, I think I kind of put it out to the world too.
Absolutely. I love that, because everything's connected. So and I love that you said, I love life even when things are bad, because that means you're loving all of it, which really is, to me, unity consciousness. Everything's connected. So if we want to be in unity, how can we love this and hate that?
Right.
It doesn't work that way. It all has to belong.
Right. And that's something I've tried to get better at too, is trying to deal with the bad things much better. Because I think that's also, I think, most people's biggest issue isn't that they don't appreciate or love life, but it is one thing. But I think it's also just how they deal with the bad things that happen. I am someone who is a proponent of bring on all the shit life has. Here's why. I want life to throw at me all of the most horrible things as soon as possible. Unfortunately, life has not done that to me yet. And I'm actually like, do I really want stuff to happen? Because I haven't had like any, thank God, any serious like big deaths in my life yet. I'm young, but I haven't had anything like that. No serious illnesses in the family. So I do appreciate that. A rougher background when I was growing up. We were pretty poor. but I think how you deal with the bad things and whatever I have gone through that's been rough, I think I deal with decently because I realize I can either make my situation much, much, much worse, which is what most people do is they maybe react, they just do whatever comes to their mind and they don't sit and think and breathe and relax.
Mhm.
So then they make things that are bad become much, much worse. And something real quickly, this is again commonly taught, but I never really realized how good it is. I think anyone who's ever upset for any reason, frustrated, anxious, depressed, hold it, breathe out. My mom,
Just
again, it's the most basic thing, but it's so good. At least, like for me,
yeah.
it's not my mom when I was younger. Again, same thing, probably frustrated about this and this. She goes, just breathe, Johnny. Just breathe. And
Just
it's
breathe.
so good. Everyone, just breathe. You're either upset at your spouse. It's probably not that bad.
Right?
Your cat's shat in the carpet. It'll be clean. Just breathe. Give a breath.
Breathe. Exactly. I love that. And it's the whole fight, flight, rest, repose response where
Mm-hmm.
we think saber-toothed tigers are chasing us. And so all we can do, there's literally parts of our brain and our body shutting down, going, and all we can do is react.
Right.
And just, oh yeah, there's nothing chasing me.
There's nothing chasing me. I unless like you have a gun to your head, you have time. You have time to think.
Yeah.
Something that I also a huge proponent on is before people go to college, start a business, do anything. Often because I'm a little bit younger, I deal with a lot of people more my age. I'm like, have you thought about what you want to do in your life? They go, well, kind of. I know I want to do, let's just say it's becoming a lawyer. I'm like, but if you like sat and wrote down and like thought for like days at a time, maybe like if you're making important life decisions, you should spend weeks, at least a few weeks on this shit.
Thinking it and feeling it and realizing what it's going to take and all of the things.
Everything involved with it. I'm a huge proponent for that too. Like I said, as again, things are just connected. I write stuff down. Writing down, like everyone, I think, should have at least some kind of plan where you want to direct things. So you can focus your energy, focus your thoughts, and you just have to write things down. Bare minimum, what you want, why it's important for you, what are the bad things that will happen from it, and what are the good things that will happen from it. Because if it's all in your head, your thoughts are just spiraling from here to here to good to bad. You have no actual focus directing. Okay, I have these different things I can consider.
Yeah.
Take time. Think for a while about important decisions, like at least a few weeks.
Just breathe.
just breathe. Just think. Spend time. And you'll also, I think, people will be much more of themselves when they do that because you're not really when you react. You're not really being yourself. You're kind of just being your reaction.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. That's so important. All right. So, big question. I ask this question of every guest on the show, and every time I get a different definition. What does wealth mean to you?
Wealth means the freedom from stress of worrying about everyday struggles and difficulties. Because I came from like twice being almost really, really, really broke. Once when I was much younger, I think I was between the ages of like 7 and 8. My family lived in someone else's basement in welfare apartments. My parents' cars were taken away. We had nothing. And the second time when I was 17, 18. I gotta make my story straight. 17, 18, I was traveling a lot for business. I was trying to keep things afloat. I was supporting my ex-girlfriend at the time, doing a bunch of things. Got home from a trip. Oh, I have $50 to my account. That's not good. Coming from that background, I always thought that I would want I want a huge mansion. I do wear bling. For some reason, I do like bling. I'll be honest.
There's nothing wrong with a little bling. Everybody's definition of wealth is different.
I like a little bling. But other than that, I do like traveling. I do like experiences. I do like a lot of different things, but I've slowly matured, and I think I realized I don't need, maybe I'll get those things. I think I'll be fairly wealthy in financial terms, very wealthy. As years go by, I'll become more and more wealthy. But what I've learned is again, maybe it's through appreciation, just being thankful, is what I have is great right now.
Yeah.
But I just appreciate and think that because I've gotten older, because I've thought about it more. I don't need a mansion. I don't need all these more luxurious things in life. I just need to be happy with what I have. And of course, strive for things a little bit better. When I get those things a little better, maybe strive a little bit farther for, again, not necessarily things. I've learned that, to me, experiences are the most valuable thing people can get. More and more experiences.
Yes.
Because when you think back on your life, you talk to anyone who's above the age of, really any age,
Yeah.
what do they tell you about when you're talking to them? It's usually about
stories.
It's usually about their family, traveling. It's all experiences. So wealth to me, again, is just being able to live freely without constant worry. Because if you have that in your life, you are blessed. You are blessed. Like, again, as everything's connected, your emotional health, your spiritual health, all those things are just as important as your financial health. Because there are people who are broke, who have nothing, who live in Africa, who are much happier than people who have a lot of money.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh my gosh, John, I feel like I could talk to you all day.
I know we could.
It's such a fun conversation. I want to thank you for being on the show. But as always, we end it with one last question.
Okay, I'm good.
What do you dream of for the world?
What I dream of for the world. That's you ask big questions.
I like to, it's Revelry.
I dream of for the world people to realize they are capable of being much more.
Ooh, yeah.
They're capable of being much more, and that, again, life, the second important thing, they're capable of being much more, and that life is not to be taken so damn seriously. Anytime I talk with someone that's either just got something up their ass, or they're just way too serious, or they're way too, lighten up, breathe, relax. My girlfriend worries quite a bit sometimes, depends on what she's worrying about. But usually everything tends to work out in some way when you do things right. Do you care if I have two kind of quotes?
Go ahead.
I like to share 2 quotes. These are unique, one of a kind. My brother doesn't think one of them is, but they are. They're my quotes, and I love them. One is kind of generic, but just means keep moving forward. Aspire for progress, hunger for success, and strive for greatness. Obvious meaning, just keep moving forward more and more and more. And then, I don't want to butcher this one because you can kind of say it in reverse and it's wrong. Your attitude is not defined by your life. Your life is defined by your attitude.
Boom.
Because often so many people think that life is happening to them.
Yeah.
Life is happening, and how you react to it dictates where your life will continue to go. Love it.
Love it. Oh, thank you so much for being on the show today, John. It's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you as well. I appreciate it. I hope I'll be back soon. Thank you again so much.